Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the High Representative Federica Mogherini for hosting us in Brussels today, and our fellow co-chairs from Germany, Kuwait, Norway, Qatar and the UK for organizing this important conference in support of Syria and the region. This is the 5th conference of its kind, and I thank Kuwait and the UK for so successfully having hosted its predecessors. And I am pleased that so many member states, international organizations and non-governmental organizations are sending a message of solidarity to the people of Syria and to all those impacted by the conflict. We stand with you, united and committed to ending this crisis and relieving the suffering of so many innocent people. That means a ceasefire. That means that the Astana effort has to deliver, and we must all support it. But above all, as it was said, it means a political solution through negotiation among the Syrians with real regional and international support. The UN is leading that effort, and the Geneva talks are underway and going into substance based on the Security Council Resolution 2254 and the Geneva communiques. But this fragile but serious effort needs everyone's united support. I appeal to the parties of the conflict and to all those with influence over them to put aside their differences and to understand that this war is first of all an immense tragedy for the Syrian people, but it is having a detrimental and destabilizing effect on the entire region, and it is providing a focus that is feeding the new threat of global terrorism. Nobody is winning this war. Everybody is losing. It puts a danger to us all. And the fight against terrorism is vital, but any successes will be ephemeral without a political solution to the crisis in Syria. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, crimes and abuses against civilians have become a hallmark of this conflict, as hundreds of thousands of lives have been lost, millions of families displaced, and communities across the country destroyed. Attacks on civilians and the use of internationally banned weapons are an affront to our common humanity. And the United Nations has consistently highlighted the need for accountability. As the conflict lines shift, there may have been a perception that the situation has eased. This is false. Recent months have been some of the worst yet. Hundreds of civilians have been killed and injured as fighting, in the end, goes on. Hundreds of thousands of people are beyond the reach of humanitarian agencies, while many more are bezicked under inhumane conditions. War crimes and persistent violations of international humanitarian law remain a reality, as yesterday's reports of use of chemical weapons reminded us again. Millions of people rely on sporadic humanitarian convoys that are regularly delayed by administrative restrictions and insecurity. And I strongly appeal to all parties to provide guaranteed and unhindered access for life-saving aid to people in need wherever they are. Given the horrors in Syria, but also in South Sudan and many other places, we have to reaffirm our collective commitment to international humanitarian law, not only in words, but in deeds. Syrians have been at the forefront of the humanitarian response, providing assistance and refuge to their compatriots at great personal risk. And I have no doubt that when the conflict ends and peace is restored, Syrians will rise again to work for the long-term recovery and reconstruction of their country. The United Nations stands ready to mobilize all its capacities for that purpose, and this conference is also very important for that. While we wait for that day, we must make sure that the Syrian people we have failed so badly are not subjected to even greater suffering because of our inaction or matters that are fully under our control. This conference must represent a moment of truth when the international community takes decisive steps to increase its support for the victims of the Syrian conflict and for the neighbouring countries that are providing a safe haven for millions of refugees. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, inside Syria, 4 out of every 5 people are in poverty. half in extreme poverty, unable to meet even basic food needs. 1 in 3 schools is out of use, preventing 1.75 million children from getting an education. There are 10-year-old Syrian children who have never been in a classroom. Outside Syria, humanitarian aid is clearly insufficient for refugees in neighboring countries. More than 90% of refugees outside camps in Jordan are living below the Jordanian poverty line, and around half of Syrian refugee children in Lebanon are still out of school, independently of the enormous efforts made by the Lebanese government.